In this video I'll demonstrate how to thread a sewing machine. This example here is the Bernina 1008 model. So first you're going to take your spool of thread and put it on the holder there. So then you're going to take the thread here and you're going to place it through this little catch here. On every sewing machine there is some kind of catch to start your threading. So then you're going to go down through this little groove here. So the thread comes down, goes around this hook, back up. There's a little hook here that the thread needs to go around. It's important to have this in a position so you can put the thread around it. So you may need to maneuver using your manual feed dial here. You may need to maneuver that if it's inside, you can't get it, you need to just maneuver that around until it's in a position. Usually when it's out and up closer to the top, it's easier as the thread you can just take the thread from your right hand side and push it over to the left and slide it down. On this model there is an actual little sheet, metal sheet that the thread needs to go down inside. A lot of machines don't have this, you simply put it around the little hook. And you come back down here. On this model there is a small little thread guide there that you need to go in behind. There's also a little thread guide here just by the machine needle, and that's important to get your thread behind. I tend to go like that with the thread and put it around there so that it's ready. Now the next thing is getting the thread through the eye of the needle. This is a little tricky. So what I do is I always snip the thread so that there's a nice clean finish on the thread. I do wet the thread so that it's a little bit more slick, and I then hold it between my two fingers and I have just a small piece there so it's easy to guide and direct in through the eye of the needle. If I have a long piece it's very hard to control it and get it through the eye of the needle. So pull it right up to the end there of your fingers and place it through the eye of the needle like that. I hold my finger there and I can grab with my other hand the thread. I do usually always put my finger on this thread to hold and control it because otherwise it tends to wrap around, get a bit knotted up around the needle. So now you have threaded the top thread. So you've gone from your spool through the hook, down, up, back down, through the needle, and the last thing is under this presser foot. So I usually say to everyone, and it's the same with any machine, the general order of threading a machine will always be the same. It will always be down, up, down, through the needle and under the presser plate. Now the second half of threading the machine is to get the under thread threaded. Now the under thread comes from the bobbin, and you can see the different video about how to wind the bobbin, but once you have the thread wound around the bobbin, you have to place it in what's called the bobbin case. Now this is the bobbin case, and here is the bobbin, and the bobbin goes into the bobbin case, slots in. Then there's a little notch here in the bobbin case, a little groove that you need to place the thread into. And then there's a sheet of metal here, and that thread needs to go behind the sheet of metal. Now I put my finger on the bobbin because as I try and pull, the bobbin will wind, so it's a little bit easier if I hold the bobbin so that I can get that thread in behind that metal plate, and then it is coming through the hole in the bobbin. And now we're ready to place it in the machine. So you'll notice that on every bobbin case they're all slightly different. Again, do not borrow or exchange a bobbin case from a different machine. It's important. They look very similar, but they're slightly different dimensions, and they need to be the correct bobbin case for the machine. But all bobbin cases will have a piece that juts out there at the top. Now this needs to be placed in line with the groove that's in the machine. Now maybe a little bit hard to see in the video, but there is an actual groove here in the machine that the bobbin case slots into. So all machines will have that groove at the top as well. So it's a bit like jigsaw piece slotting in. You've got to just get it in the right direction. Also, you've got a lever here that you need to pull out on the bobbin case. So you pull that out as you place the bobbin case into the machine. And there should be a little click when that goes in. Sometimes you don't quite hear it, but it clicks into place, and then the bobbin case is secured in. So the next step is probably the hardest bit for the threading. So what you need to do here is get the bobbin thread, or the under thread, up on top of the presser plate. So the way you do that is you hold this thread, so that was the thread from the top threading, and you wind the manual feed dial, which is here, towards you. And as you do that, this thread will go down and wrap around the bobbin case. As it does that, it catches this thread and lifts it up. Now there's a little bit of a trick to this. You don't want to hold this thread too tight. If it's held too tight, it won't wrap around the bobbin case. You also don't want to hold it too loose. If there's too much slack, it tends to get wound up and doesn't pull the under thread up either. So it's a kind of a nice medium ground with a bit of slack on this. So you're holding with your left hand the thread, you're winding with your right hand the manual feed dial there. So forward I'm going. And you're looking with your eyes down here until it passes over. So at the moment I can see the thread is there. And as I once I can see the thread is past the kind of center point of the bobbin case, I can stop winding with my right hand and just pull. And you see the thread has come up to the top. So just be careful not to keep winding with your right hand, as the thread just kind of gets wound around there and makes a mess. So you're actually only winding it a few winds until you see with your eye the thread there, and then you stop with the right hand and pull with the left hand. And we have our threads up. So both threads are up and out of the machine. They're between, or they're underneath the presser foot and on top of the presser plate. That's the position the threads need to be in to sew correctly. So good luck with threading your machine.